Good evening, Fernwood. It is your quixotic queer kid Neil, and there are quatre episodes of Mary Hartman remaining. We are watching episode 322 from June 28th, 1977. Yesterday had some highs and some lows, so let's take a look. We started in the Hartman kitchen with Tom screaming on the phone at the Fernwood police for not looking for Mary Hartman. Tom takes the blame for Mary having run off, but Kathy and George reassure him that Mary had some big part in making the choice to leave. Dr. Furman comes in to check on Kathy and then lets Tom know that the information that they had last week was mistaken, that Tom cannot be a donor. And considering that Mary cannot currently be found, Kathy makes a joke. Then we visit the Shumways where Martha is cooking a meal and George has prepared a film projector so that they can watch a Gidget movie, one of Kathy's favorites. Then George and Martha sit down to look at the photo album and reminisce about young Kathy. Then Kathy comes in and joins the fun. Martha asks her if she has any final requests, and Kathy considers that if she could do it again, she would get into comedy. Martha says that since she has an inn at the Capri Lounge, she can make that happen. So Kathy quips that all she needs now is a kidney and an act. Then it is a dark and stormy night at the Bidewee Motel as Merle paces and Wanda reads the hate mail that they have been receiving ever since their names were associated with the American Communist Party. Merle gets in bed as Wanda comforts him and then turns out the lights, and this really is the worst room at the Bidewee because it's right next to the train tracks. Wanda sets Merle's mind at ease, and then they start to get amorous as Adeline wakes up and she and Mickey Mo set out to go catch catfish. For Merle, this really does seem to be the lowest point, and he vows that he is going to bounce back, just as Wanda puts out her martini glass to catch the drips that are falling from the ceiling. And then finally we are at the Capri Lounge where Kathy is already going up for her act. Loretta is giving her advice as a performer, and Kathy says she's got plenty because Reginald Jones' 1,000 Favorite Joke book is where her material comes from. The house is packed, and Loretta comes on to prime them for Kathy to come up. Then she gets on stage and completely tears the house down. Every joke that she tells hits the crowd. They love what she is doing, and she makes a complete splash. And then she celebrates with her friends and family at the table as Dr. Furman comes in with a case of cigarettes and a large file box that he has taken from the factory and the hospital. And he has found exactly 2 potential candidates for a transplant. The first is Garth Gimble, who has died, so Dr. Furman checks him off the list. And Kathy starts to complain that no one would be willing to give up their kidney for her. Then Dr. Furman reveals the second candidate, and it is Loretta Haggars, who seems just a bit hesitant to give up her kidney. Everyone, this is it. We are in that final 4 episodes. Wow, let's go.
Mary Hartman!
Girls, did you ever love somebody so much you just didn't care how old he was and didn't matter what your friends or relatives said? Well, I did, and I got a little tale to tell you all about it. Well, I never will forget the first time that we met, dancing squares in a do-si-do at the
Loretta, stop. Have I got news for you?
Well, how are you doing? What you got there?
Oh, are you ready?
Yeah.
I mean, are you ready?
Well, yes,
Really
I'm ready.
ready?
Well, God dog it, tell me what
Are you
this
really,
is.
really ready?
I'm really, really ready.
Okay.
Tell me.
Ready?
Tell me.
Okay. Seymour Blumberg is coming to town.
Are you serious?
I wouldn't kid about a thing.
That is fabulous. Who is he?
Seymour Blumberg is a giant producer.
Really?
If I had to put a handle on him, I'd say he's the the talk show king. And, you're looking at the prince who is going to be hosting his next big variety
Oh, that
spectacular.
is great! Oh, congratulations! Is that the contract that he sent you?
Not quite, but what this is his answer to my letter.
Yeah.
And it says he'll talk to me.
Oh, that is so fat. Oh, gosh, we only have one guest room. I'll tell you what, we could put a cot up here in the living room, or that makes out to a real fabulous bed, comfortable.
Seymour Blumberg stay here? No, sweetheart, not with just one phone. See, Seymour Blumberg travels first cabin.
Oh,
just the way I will. Once I get back on the old boob tube.
I'll tell you something, hon. You are on your way, aren't you?
Yeah, you just grab onto my coattails, little songbird, and before you know it, you're going to be warbling for Blumberg.
Oh, gosh.
Do me a favor, honey, sign this.
Oh, sure. Listen, just the second that Charlie gets home, I'll have him read it, and hon, we'll shoot it right back
Right on
to
the
you.
dotted line here.
Well, let me just, read it here, see what this...
I think that's kind of almost a waste of time, because it's exactly what we talked about before, and you were all in favor of it, remember? So just sign.
Oh, well, hon, I'd love to. Just, tell me kind of exactly what it is I'm signing here, and I'll
Okay.
just be delighted.
It's a 7-year contract. It's just kind of a formality. It's standard. And what it is, it enables me. So if Blumberg comes up to me and says, hey, Barth, you talk a good game. Can you deliver? I can just whip this out.
Oh, so this is like proof that you can deliver, like?
That's it. That's how they do it. In the big time. You got to trust me. Just pretend it's an autograph. Right here.
I'll do it, hon, the minute Charlie gets home. We'll take care, we'll get right to it.
Sweetheart, Charlie and I both agree that you're going to be a huge, and I mean a huge, parcel of talent, and it's going to take both of us to manage this monster career of yours.
This 7 years business, I think that Charlie might think it's just a teensy bit long,
Well, it's a long time for me, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to take my time to make your career and just make it a little easier on Charlie. He's not getting any younger.
Well, it is true. Now, you have been a fabulous help to both Charlie and me, and we do appreciate that. I mean, Charlie, appreciates that and everything.
Well, I just don't want to see your career take him into his grave. You know what I mean? Sign it, sweets. Sign it for Charlie.
Well... Oh, no, wait a minute. This is not going to interfere with my giving a kidney to Kathy, is it now?
Human life comes first.
Well, I think
Anyone in show business will tell you that. But listen, you got to hurry. We got to get this act of ours together.
so. Okay.
Sign.
Well, all right. If you think this is, for the best for both Charlie and me and everything, then I guess...
Couldn't be better.
Honey! Hi, Barth. Honey, I got great
boy.
news.
How are you?
Guess what? I just talked to Clive Muncie, and he wants you to cut another record, sweetheart.
How great!
How about that?
That's great.
Fabulous.
What's going on?
Oh, and guess what?
What?
Guess what? You're
What?
not going to believe this.
Now, what?
This gentleman right here has just gotten me a TV deal. We're going to do this variety special and stuff with this guy named Seymour Bloomberg or
No,
something
it's
like that.
Blumberg. Seymour Blumberg.
Yeah.
It's going to be really big time, the whole Midwest.
Lucky day.
We gotta get our heads together and talk about all the details just as soon as we get back from Chicago.
Oh, by Friday.
By Friday.
Charlie,
Yeah?
That's great.
as her manager and as her friend,
Yeah.
I cannot allow this little lady to get involved with something like, country music, which just could be a passing fad.
Wait a minute, country music is as old as the hills.
Oh, yeah.
That's my point, exactly.
Well, now, wait a minute here, Barth. Now,
wait,
let's just...
wait, just a minute. Now, you managers, just wait a minute here. Now, listen, I know that we can all just kind of sit down and chit-chat this whole thing out and come up 100% in agreement or money-back guarantee.
Well, I don't know about 100%, honey, because you and me got a ticket for Chicago right here.
See?
Charlie. I don't think we want to get the little lady all messed up with a bunch of lawsuits at this point.
What?
We're talking breach, Charlie.
What?
Breach?
Breach of contract. Long term. The little lady is busy. Let's put it this way. Don't make any plans for dinner, okay? For about 7 years. I'm just kidding. So come on, Loretta. We got to get down to Channel 6. I got it booked. We got the echo. We got the backup. We got the works. Oh, don't you just love show business?
You know what it is? It's a loneliness, Charlie.
John, old friend, I think I have an inkling of what you're going through. I mean, I felt the same way the other night when I wanted a little Still fun in the bedroom, but Loretta's still working on Bart's arrangements. I mean, man, that cold bed, that can about freeze you to death.
Damn, that's the worst part, the empty bed. That's the toughest part. And all you got to hang on to is a cold, lifeless pillow.
Tom, speaking as a friend, I say that a man makes his own bed. What I mean is you got to get out of your bed, and you got to get out into the world, and you got to meet people, and you got to be sociable.
Yeah, but who the hell wants to be, running around with a guy like me? Hell, I've been married for 14 years. The same woman, she loved me, right? And she left me. I mean, a move like that doesn't say a hell of a lot for my desirability, does it?
Oh, Tom, you're a desirable. You're about as desirable as they come. I mean, ask me, I ought to know.
You ought to know, huh? Hey, thanks. Appreciate that, yeah.
What?
Let me get me another Diet Pepsi here. I'll tell you something. That's a good thing you said that. It really is. Hey.
Oh,
Hey, what are you doing here?
sorry.
Let me buy another drink there. Here. Yeah, I'll, two. What are you drinking?
Diet Pepsi.
2 Diet Pepsis here. Right.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Maureen Murray. I was at your house for the class reunion.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't recognize you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, that was my wife's class.
Oh, yeah, right. I was in her class.
Yeah.
Well, you were a senior when we were freshmen. Did you know? We were once sort of paired off at a victory party, you and me.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Thanks. Listen, I got a friend of mine over here. You wanna join us?
Oh, no, I wouldn't want to interrupt anything, no.
Oh, hey, that'd be all right. Listen, that pretty face is always a welcome interruption. Come on.
In that case, I'd love to.
Yeah, come on, go ahead. Hey, Charlie. This, wants you to meet an old friend of mine here, Maureen,
Murray.
Yeah, Maureen Murray, that's right. M&M's, like M&M. Marilyn Monroe.
Hi, I'm Charlie Haggars.
Are you any relation to Loretta Haggars? You know, that cute little country western singer. She hosted the Guardian Party telethon.
Tom, how about this? It's a fan, eh?
I sure am. I watched that show from beginning to end.
You watched all night?
Oh, yeah. It was kind of nice to have something to watch in the middle of the night. You know, ever since my divorce, I kind of sign off whenever the last show on is. And then I usually sit around and read a bit, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's the toughest time at all, about 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah. Oh, Tom, how's Mary? I didn't get to talk to her much at the reunion. What was she, caught up in the crush?
She wasn't there.
No?
That's the night she left me.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry to hear that. You two seem so right for each other.
Yeah.
Were you a classmate of Mary's?
Why, I sure was. In fact, I was jealous of her. She snaked the love of my life.
What?
You see how surprised he is. You didn't even know I was alive, let alone that I had a crush on you when we were in school.
You know what? I remember you now. Oh, my God, yes. You were really cute then.
What's the matter with me now?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it. I didn't mean it that way. No. As a matter of fact, you're probably... Well, you are. You're cuter now than you were then, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but time for these boots to be walking on here.
Yeah, I guess I better be going too, Charlie. Yeah, I got a daughter home alone, but I don't like to leave her at night, you know.
Oh, I thought you said that Heather was spending the night at Trudy's.
Well, she is, yeah, but listen, I gotta, pack her lunch and get her ready for school in the morning, and, listen, nice seeing you again, Maureen. And, hope to see you again real soon, okay?
Oh, yeah, I certainly hope so. Bye, Charlie. Nice to meet you. See you, Tom.
Yeah.
If anybody thinks that there's anything glamorous about the television business, they're just crazier than the balloon. There is nothing glamorous about what I did today. And there's nothing inspirational. You don't have time to even dream up the best stuff you could do, because you just got to rush over here, sing your song, rush over here, do your marks. Marks is these little X marks they put down on the floor, and it tells you where to stand for the lights and the camera and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I didn't even have any clue as to what they was talking about. I thought they meant marks. Like in school, and, well, it was just wild. What's wrong, Charlie? Charlie, hon, will you trust me about that contract? Now listen, I would not have signed it if I knew it wasn't going to make a better life for both of us, and you in particular, hon. Now, for Pete's sakes, trust me on that, Charlie. And let me tell you something else. I know that if I'm not really happy, they're not going to hold me to that.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding, honey? You're not only being held by it, you're being dragged off by it.
Oh, baby boy, hon. I really am sorry. I am.
I know I understand, you're probably very busy. You're real busy rehearsing.
Oh, it's just awful.
You're too busy to give your husband, who used to be your manager, a call.
Charlie, you're still my manager. Bart's just my business manager. You know that. Now, look, honey, let me tell you. What, let's just get a good night's sleep. We'll wake up all fresh, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. I promise, honey, but I'm so exhausted right now.
Honey, all I can say is it used to be real important to you. Husbands and friends and one manager only used to be very important to you, sweetheart.
Now, wait a minute.
Well, wait a minute, honey, wait a minute. I've been waiting the whole darn day.
Hello, sorry to barge in. Listen, I've got the new scripts for you right here, Loretta. And I want you to just read them over, put them under your pillow, whatever you do to get them in that pretty little noggin of yours, okay? Because we got a big day again tomorrow. Also, I talked to Furman. He's just got a few tests he has to run. I told him, come down and do them during a break, okay? Charlie, please do us all a favor. Let this lady get a little sleep. I know, okay, but a little. Even Donnie and Marie are in bed by 8, okay? Take care, sweet cheeks. Night.
What's this with Dr. Furman? Are you sick? What's with Dr. Furman?
No, honey, it's just, the medical tests and everything for the kidney transplant, for Kathy. It's just blood tests and...
Blood? They're going to take blood from you in the middle of a working day?
Charlie, it's to save Kathy's life.
What about your life? Honey, what about our life? Loretta, this is just... Honey, this is terrible. I mean, what kind of a contract is it that lets them take blood out of you in the middle of a working day?
I'm sorry, okay? Now, look. Please, can we just talk about this tomorrow? Please, I'm really...
Honey, it was right on the time, right at the very moment that I had signed you up for a record with Clyde Muncie, too, myself. I had done that.
I'm exhausted, Charlie.
And letting them wear you out like that. Letting them wear you out and not taking care of yourself, and you don't even call me.
Stop it, will you? I said I was sorry, and I'm sorry, Charlie. I am sorry. S-O-R-R-Y, I'm sorry. Now, look, I would not have signed this contract if I hadn't have been sure that it was the best thing for both of us. I was just sure, Charlie. I was sure, so I signed it. I thought it would make you happy, see? But it didn't, okay? So it made you sad and blue, and I'm sorry. Charlie, look at us. Charlie, we're at each other like Sonny and Cher. Is this what success and superstardom means, fighting?
Honey.
I'm so
Honey, come on,
sorry.
honey, come on. I'm the one that should be sorry, honey. I'm the one that should be sorry. I mean, when you working so hard and on a TV show, too. I mean, you're probably right. You're probably right, honey. This is probably your very best chance at superstardom. It really is. I'm just making a lot of noise because I didn't think of it first myself. Probably couldn't have got it lined up for you if I did.
Oh, Charlie, honey.
I promise. I promise I will love and honor and manage you forever.
For now and for always, Charlie. Just the two of us, okay? Just the two of us.
Okay.
Don't stop now.
What the hell are you doing here, huh? In my house, in my bed. What are you doing?
I got here in my car. The front door was unlocked. And isn't it pretty obvious what I'm doing in your bed?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, but... hey, listen, I think you made a mistake about me.
Oh? I thought you'd be glad to see me, judging from the way you acted at the Capri.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see you. It's just that this is not exactly what I had in mind when I said I hoped I see you real soon.
It's funny. I thought this is exactly what you meant. I hoped this was what you meant.
Maureen? Yeah, well, look, I'm a married man, see, and...
Told me you were separated.
Well, temporarily, but basically I'm a married man, very married.
Well, I'll tell you something, Tom Hartman. You were coming on very much like a separated man about an hour ago.
Oh, yeah, was that? Well, I'll tell you something. Oh, my God, I'm sorry.
You sure were.
Yeah, well, see, that doesn't really mean anything, you know? I mean, that's just, that's kind of guy stuff, you know, kind of sort of a reflex. I mean, you know, flirting like that, it's just a habit.
Is that all it was? A knee jerk?
A knee jerk? A knee jerk? Oh, no, of course not. It's just, well, I just kind of liked flirting with a nice lady.
Great. Would you like to try now for what's behind the curtain?
No, please, no. I appreciate that, though.
Ooh. I guess I'm not very experienced with this sort of thing. I blew it, didn't I?
No, hell no.
Oh, well, if I didn't, then you must have. I mean, I may be new at this, but somebody blew it.
No. Look, nobody blew it. You did good.
Wait a minute. Let's review this situation and see just where we went wrong. Were you flirting with me at the bar tonight?
Well, sure I was.
Okay, and I was flirting back. Now, you did say you were lonely, right?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh, wait a minute. Wait on the buts. I just want to get something straight. Because as far as I can see, everything has led us to right where we are. And a bit farther.
Yeah, but see, I mean, flirting doesn't count, see? Because I got a wife.
Ex-wife, Tom. That's what you have now. Listen, you better get used to being taken seriously when you flirt. I mean, you don't have Mama's skirt to hide behind.
Oh, God, look, I mean, you must know a lot more about this kind of thing than I do. I know so little. I like you a lot. Just I'm not sure I'm ready for this kind of thing, that's all.
Why not?
'Cause I haven't even learned how to handle not having Mary here.
Yeah, but that's the point. She's not here. And at this very moment, right now, I am here. Besides, there's nothing on TV tonight.
You sure?
Well, I already checked the TV guide.
Look, I don't want you to get me wrong now, but I'm not ready for anything like this right now, see? Okay? It has to do with having been married for 14 years, see? This bed here, see? This is our bed. I mean, Mary's and mine, see? I mean, this is Mary and our bed, see? And many times we were here on this bed and we...
Here, you take my advice. Don't sit in this room and mope, Tom. I mean, don't drown in your memories. Oh, and if you do find yourself in the mood to be with another woman, don't let me know. Once every 15 years is enough of a crush for me.
I'm sorry, Maureen.
Oh, will you stop being sorry, for God's sake? And for your sake? Listen, if you really want to be alone, then really be alone. I mean, don't be lonely around other people. It's not fair to your friends. Huh? So long, Tom.
Oh, Mary, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, baby. Mary, I miss you. Mary.
I guess I wasn't expecting that today. This episode mainly focuses on Tom and the Haggars, and it starts with Loretta about to sing Baby Boy. I thought maybe this show was going to reset to season 1 and really get to that song, right, which was her claim to fame. But then that is interrupted by Barth, who comes with a contract and insists that she sign. And my memories went back to season 1 with the bad times that they had with the contracts that both Charlie and Loretta signed in that period. And Barth is completely insistent that she sign it without actually reading it. So that was really reaching out to me, that story, that time that Loretta got locked into something bad, Charlie got locked into something bad. Contracts are something that they should be careful with, and Loretta was bamboozled into signing it. She was badgered by Barth. That was unintentional alliteration. Right then, Charlie comes in saying that he has been in touch with Clive and that they want to record another album, but Barth now has control. Loretta has signed the contract, so they cannot take the trip to Chicago to record that album. Barth isn't even on board with Loretta being a country singer. And admittedly, it wasn't hip to be into country in the 70s and 80s, not by a long shot. That was the genre of music that most people in big cities, at least, would say, I love every kind of music except for country. That was kind of the buzzword, or the way that people talked about music back then, at least where I was. I'm sure there were country strongholds somewhere in the country, but I wasn't there. And then it seems like some time passes before we're at the next scene, because Charlie tells Tom that Loretta has been working with Barth for a few days. That I could be wrong about that, but it did feel like this was at least a couple of days after the contract incident. Tom is not sure of himself in this world, right? He just doesn't know how he fits in it without Mary. And then he bumps into Maureen, who really seems lovely, and they clearly have chemistry, and she knows who he is. I thought maybe they would go a little bit further. Obviously, there are only 3 episodes left, but I thought that there might be potential for a relationship. I think that's fair. Obviously, we'll get to Maureen and Tom's interaction later. But when it came to that scene, it seemed like there was hope for Tom. And then we get to Loretta and Charlie going to bed, and Loretta is exhausted from the rehearsal schedule at the studio. And of course, Barth is their house guest, so he just barges in telling her to get to sleep. But for me, this scene was the most real fight that I've seen Charlie and Loretta have. Through everything, through all of those episodes, all the way back to season 1, episode 1, Charlie and Loretta have been the loving couple who doted on each other. Even when things were hard, even when they were not together, they loved each other and they wished the best for each other. And to see this fight escalate between them wrecks me, because this is the pressures of their life right now. Loretta even questioned whether superstardom meant fighting. It blows over, and Loretta and Charlie come together. But Barth, he's still got that sort of Damocles hanging over their head, the contract. And he is in charge for real. And then Tom comes home and gets undressed and finds a friend in bed. And this is 1970s more, so like with me watching this show, Tom is in the right here. He is not ready to deal with meeting someone else and getting into bed with someone else. That's not where his head is, and that's completely his right. That's a boundary that he needs to keep up, because he is still in awful, awful pain. Whether or not you like Tom, you have to admit that he is hurting. And Maureen does not accept that, right? Maureen also divorced, so she has possibly a similar life. We don't know her situation, but she sees it like, hey, two people flirting, it's the 1970s, let's jump into bed. This is before AIDS, of course. That's how people thought back then. And it's hurtful, right? Because there is potential in there. Tom is attracted to Maureen, just not ready right now. And that seems like a reasonable request to me. And I have to think that people were probably of two minds back then, that some people see, they get it, and some people see Maureen's side, that he should be just sleeping around. And I don't have anything against sleeping around, but I do feel like Tom needs space right now. He needs to figure out who he is, and great, take the time to do that. But Maureen isn't willing to let him take that time. Maureen says, if you get interested, don't call me. She takes off, and Tom mourns his relationship with Mary. So now it's time for me to address the topic of the week. This topic came in January, and I had asked, what was your takeaway from having watched this series, Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman? And part 2 was, what would you recommend to folks who enjoyed this show? Today's response comes from longtime commenter Ken Givens, who probably was one of the first regular commenters on the show. And Ken says, the show gives insight to American culture and history in the 1970s. The show Mary Hartman mostly makes me laugh. It really did comment on culture. I feel like it does more than just the 70s. Some of this stuff is really universal. Obviously, it's pretty dated in terms of its reference. It's very clearly set in that era. And thinking about what we were mentioning yesterday about the me generation, now that I see where this show is and have time to consider the me generation, I think this show really is a part of that. That whole Mary chasing her dream is very me generation moral. If we were to think that this show had a moral, right? Because there's lots of ideas and thoughts and feelings that happen when you watch the show. If we viewed it that way, now I'm going off on my thinking, but based on the idea of the 70s, if we were to look at it this way, Mary is kind of tortured throughout the whole series. Somewhat self-torture. Some of this is stuff that she brings on herself. Some of this is also just where she is, but then eventually, as of a week and a half ago, she makes the choice to go and do the thing that was important for her. And I feel like that's where Maureen was earlier. Me. Ken's response is to laugh, because some of this stuff is familiar and silly and goofy, and that's where things are. And I know Ken isn't necessarily as cry-faced as I am when it comes to this show, but, you know, that's where we are. Ken has a second response, though. Chuck was a fun TV show. Used to be on NBC. Has the same lead actor that is Shazam currently on film. That's Zachary Levi. Basically, any type of TV show that has relationship-based characters, good story continuity, enough depth to invoke visceral reactions, good humor, an offbeat sense of humor, many cultural references, both historical and currently, violence, and an examination of the human condition, and good production, good actors, directors, writers, etc. In terms of good production, there was great acting, there was fun writing, quite a few booms dropping into the frame in this series, so I maybe won't say as much about the production of this series, but, you know, they were doing a lot, and they were probably on a low budget with a very short time frame. They did quite a lot with their time on this show. I've never seen Chuck, so I can only guess. As I remember commenting to Ken, I remember writing a prospectus or an outline for a pilot for a show that was basically the same story as Chuck, and then the next day Chuck was announced. So clearly I was tapping into the zeitgeist. It is about a person who works at a big box store who also is a spy. I've never watched it, somewhat because I wrote that sort of pilot project and then, like, kind of could never do it, could never create it because the show was pretty much the same idea. And, well, I guess, maybe I should check it out, but it definitely still stings a little bit. That's on me. But that is Ken's recommendation. My recommendation, though, is that you will join me for the final episodes of Mary Hartman, the final 3. Thank you so much for watching with me. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions down in the comments. Thank you for joining me for these 4, 4 final episodes of Mary Hartman. We will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.